Hello everybody and welcome back to Murder on the Orient Express. If you're thinking to yourself, that doesn't look like the Orient Express, it's because it isn't. We're in Venice, investigating a plot twist to Murder on the Orient Express, which is the 13th murderer. So yes, we're investigating that at the moment. In the first sort of episode of this part of the game, we have found somebody committing a murder just here. They ran away and they've managed to escape Joanna, who's the other side of town, after chasing after them. We're now playing as Poirot. We're going to investigate what happened to this poor person here. There's a massive rucksack of money just there. There's a suitcase over there as well, so there's some stuff to investigate. If you've missed any of the episodes so far, go and check them out to catch yourselves up. And don't forget to, if you are enjoying these, make sure you leave them a like as well, to help the algorithms, etc. with the channel. But for now, let's investigate this big sack of money.
There must be several tens of thousands of dollars in this bag.
At least. Some sunglasses.
A pair of women's glasses. Was Ratchet planning a new identity?
That can't be dismissed, can it? He did do that a lot. I'll look at the bag first.
A bunch of keys. If, as seems likely, Mr. Wadi is a resident of Geneva, then one of these may belong to his home there.
Sounds like we might be going to Geneva as well. Nothing else on the keys.
Various clothes in his suitcase. Mr. Wadi was obviously planning to leave this city.
A Swiss passport.
Mr. Wadi's Swiss passport. I'll see if I can find a match on the internet to confirm his identity.
Find information about Mr. Wadi. Okay. Go 45. Yeah.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot.
So this must be them.
The victim was
Mr. Wadi.
Apparently the method of choice in this case.
So somebody was out to get him and get Ratchet. Not just the people on the train. So they've... I wonder if this plot twist was Ratchet was already dead before everybody else had a go at him on the train. So technically they didn't even murder him. That bag looks interesting. I think it's just the lighting. Is that all we can do with it?
The victim was stabbed. Apparently the method of choice in this case.
Okay, we must have to mind map this then. Analyze the crime scene. 4 out of 5. We've got one more item to find. Joanna said at the end of the last episode that he dropped something. The guy who did it ran away. He ran this way and he dropped something out of his pocket. Just before he jumped over this wall, so we're going to check that out. He's dropped his Italian passport. Well, 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 well. Look who it is.
A false passport with Ratchet's picture. Clark, Ratchet. How many others? Now he will become Enrico Caldo. It appears Ratchet changed his identity as often as his socks.
Or at least he would have done. New node. Money in the backpack mind map. Intuitions allow you to draw from your own conclusions. From a deal with Cairo, from the Armstrong case ransom. I mean, that ties in with this story, but he did have something going on with Cairo in his notepad, didn't he? Surely it's not the ransom from the Armstrong case. Not only was that years ago, who would be delivering that money?
This appears to be a good lead.
That's the one, though.
I'm sorry I couldn't catch the suspect, Mr. Poirot.
There is no need to apologize, mademoiselle. Your efforts were marvelous. I found some information about Mr. Wadi.
Did you access the FBI database?
Don't worry, my little gray cells were enough. However, the database may confirm the origin of these banknotes.
No need. I included them when I continued my investigation.
Excellent.
Find serial numbers of dollar bills among the photos of Joanna's phone. Okay, what do we got? NA2151. We don't have any of these. They all begin with NA for one. We flick pages on this? Find serial numbers of the dollar bills among the photos of Joanna's phone.
Come on, Joanna. That's a rookie mistake.
I don't understand. None of them match. Absolutely none of these. Because that's NA2151. It looks like there are different pages though, but... Oh, here we go. Finally. Okay, so NA... 2510... 2510... 2203 is that one.
That's it. No rookie mistake there.
The rookie mistake was not leaving it obvious how you get to the next page. I think that's it for that page. NA251880S, which is that one.
Score. 1 for the good
And then
guys.
we need 7649. That one there.
Hey, I'm a pretty good detective after all.
So the banknotes match.
Mr. Poirot, it's part of the ransom money from the Armstrong case.
You are surprised?
I suppose not. So Ratchet had it in an account at the Banque du Lac.
It would seem so. He knew the serial numbers on the banknotes could be traced, and he could not spend it, so he stashed it there.
But now he's run low, something he didn't count on. He hopes enough time has passed so he can begin to spend the ransom money.
Ah, there is something else he didn't count on.
What's that?
He didn't count on you, Detective Locke, and your tenacity.
Thank you. But we are still left with a murderer on the loose.
But we progress. We know Mr. Wadi had an appointment with Ratchet. He had a bag full of money and a passport with Ratchet's photo, but a new name. What is your opinion about the passport?
Ratchet wanted to disappear again, hiding behind another fake identity. The passport reveals Ratchet's true identity. I mean, how could we possibly know?
I discovered that he was arrested in Armenia for trafficking in stolen art and was supposed to be arraigned in January. Once again, he changed his identity and vanished.
You are correct, mademoiselle. He also told me that he was threatened, and that threatening letter we found in his room was real. He had to disappear once again.
Why did the murderer leave the money? It was too risky to take it. Their motive was not the money. Probably their motive is not the money.
The bag isn't very big. He could have easily run away with it. If he didn't take it, it was deliberate. He wasn't interested in the money. If the motive wasn't money, it leaves passion or revenge for motive.
So, Detective Locke, what do you think? Passion or revenge?
Revenge.
Revenge seems like an obvious motive to me. The murderer carefully followed Wadi from the fountain to the new meeting place despite Wadi's precautions. That is cold and careful.
Excellent. We cannot yet know for certain, but that is a sound psychological analysis. We have an idea of the motive. It is the same motive as that of our 12 would-be murderers on the train. But we still must know who was under that mask.
Same murderer who killed Ratchet, a murderer hired by Ratchet. I mean, technically it could be either, but I'm going to go with the same murderer.
I think Wadi's killer is also Ratchet's murderer. The motive for both deaths was revenge, and both are related to the Armstrong case through the ransom money.
Exactly. So our murderer is linked to the Armstrong case. The money is linked to the Armstrong case. But these glasses that I found in the bag, they must have something to do with this case too.
Wait, those glasses mean something to me.
Yes, they do. They were Suzanne's.
Wait, I know. I've seen these. They belong to Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nurse. I remember seeing them in her bedroom, but they were gone the day she died.
I remember the press saying that the nurse had committed suicide.
I've always believed otherwise, and the glasses are proof that she was killed by Ratchet, or his accomplice. He took those glasses. I always had a gut feeling, but now, Mr. Poirot, now I have proof Suzanne was innocent.
Yes, you do. But the question I ask myself is this. Why did Ratchet keep these glasses?
So was that a mistake there? Because they were referring to her as her Daisy's nurse, but she was Daisy's nanny. She wasn't Daisy's nurse. Do you think that's a game mistake, or do you think we should have listened to that? It's probably just a mistake in the script, but... why did he keep the glasses? Future fake evidence, trophies of his victims. I mean, it could be. Probably future fake evidence makes more sense than trophies of his victims, though.
Ratchet used to leave fake evidence at the scene of his crimes to incriminate others. He did the same thing to frame Suzanne.
Possibly. But keeping an object belonging to his victim as a souvenir of the murder, that is the behavior of a fetishist.
Now that you mention it, in my investigation at the time, I had already found Daisy's hair clip in Ratchet's cabin, and now we find Suzanne's glasses in a bag for Ratchet.
2 objects from 2 victims of Ratchet. He is a trophy hunter.
Yeah.
Okay, we managed to clear up some of the gray areas. What now?
So it was a trophy.
The bag only contained a fraction of the $1 million ransom of the Armstrong case. The rest must still be in a secure place. I will make a wager with you that it is the Banque du Lac in Geneva where Mr. Wadi worked.
Wadi was also the keeper of Ratchet's secrets. They were killed by the same murderer.
Agreed. Well, there is nothing more we can do here except wait for the police. Prepare yourself for a long evening with the police. We have a lot of explaining to do.
And after that?
A visit to Geneva, perhaps?
Well, off to Switzerland we go.
Here you are at last. I was worried about you.
We just left the police station. We had to explain to the Italian police that we were not murderers.
What? Another murder?
I'll tell you when we're underway. Are all passengers and staff aboard?
Yes, everyone is here. We were waiting for you.
Excellent. Let's not waste any more time. We have to make a longer than usual stop in Lausanne.
What? How long?
Long enough to do a little banking in Geneva.
But this is madness. A 13th murderer of Ratchet?
Mon ami, he was not well liked.
But Monsieur Michel would have seen anyone enter Ratchet's compartment. And there were another 10 people milling about, taking their turn at stabbing him. How could they not notice an uninvited killer?
Smoked in Vinkowski false testimony.
Pierre Michel's testimony is, of course, false. He was actively involved in the murder plot. I must know his real movements to understand when our 13th murderer could have acted undetected.
Is the murderer still on the train? No.
Poirot, stay focused. We have evidence that he is still on the train.
Do we?
Yes, he most certainly returned to the train.
How can you be sure?
It's obvious. I mean, I hope Mr. Poirot agrees.
Please continue, Detective Locke.
What is the proof that the murderer is still on the train? He ran in the direction of the railway station. Well, we don't know that. His best ticket out of Italy is aboard the train. There is no one missing on the train. I suppose it's no one missing on the train.
All the passengers and crew are still aboard. If the killer of Mr. Wadi had remained in Venice, we would have noticed right away that someone was missing, and we could have alerted the authorities.
I promise you, I made certain everyone was aboard before we embarked.
Book, calm yourself.
Calm myself? But we're back where we started. There is still another murderer on my train. Wait a moment. Can I change my mind about my verdict? Can we turn everyone over to the police?
Everyone? Including ourselves?
What? No. No. Oh, it's a nightmare.
Let us take it step by step, my friend. We can start by eliminating all of the members of the Ratchet jury.
Okay, so the 12 members of the jury were Arbuthnot, Dragmirov, Skelly, Hardman, Hubbard, Queen, Masterman, Michelle. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that only leaves...
Et voilà. If we
the staff,
eliminate
basically.
the 12 jurors, we are left with 7 additional suspects.
7? It's still too many.
I agree. We must reduce our list.
Excuse my impatience, Poirot. It's as if my beautiful train is cursed. Can you exonerate any of the 7?
Well, Book was still at the train, so it can't be him.
Well done. Book worked hard to get me aboard the train. He is definitely not a suspect.
I mean, I don't think she is a suspect, but is she? But then who did we chase? So she can't be.
Fantastic. Mademoiselle Locke cannot be a suspect. She pursued Mr. Wadi's murderer.
I don't think he is either. He had to wait on the train with the body. But maybe he is.
Brilliant. Dr. Constantine alerted me to the 13th stab wound.
He wouldn't have
He
done
is
that.
not a suspect. Et voilà.
Okay, so we got rid of 3.
I have 4 suspects left who I must now examine more closely. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Maury, Monsieur Fauché, and Countess Andreni.
One of my employees? Suspicious?
All three got off the train in Venice to restock supplies. Any one of them might have slipped away without being noticed.
I suppose. But what of Countess Andreni? You cleared her yourself.
She is cleared of the first murder, but we know little of her movements here in Venice. So, we still have 4 suspects to interview. Detective Locke?
I can't join you, Poirot. My chief saw something on the news about the case and my involvement. He's demanding an explanation. If I want to keep my badge, I have to call him.
Then you must do so by all means.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I understand.
I'll make the call from my compartment. If you're looking for me, I'll be there.
I hate to say this, Poirot, but I must. There is, of course, one other suspect with a motive for murder. The ransom money.
You mean Detective Locke? Then who did she chase? Who killed Aziz? We both saw the masked murderer standing over the body.
That doesn't mean she couldn't have had an accomplice, though, does it? I'm starting to suspect her. Right, so all the staff are going to be at the far end, aren't they? Is Countess... was she in here? Well, she looks out for the count.
Doctor, I need to question Countess Andreni.
I'm afraid that won't be possible, Mr. Poirot. The Countess had an anxiety attack when we arrived in Venice. She was terrified the police would come for her and her husband, despite how you concluded your investigation. I had to give her a sedative. She has been sleeping since.
You have stayed with her all the time we were in Venice?
Count Andreni begged me to watch over her. I have not left this room.
You're the reason she's in this state.
Book voted to absolve you all. I accepted his verdict.
I told her. I tried to reason with her. What she has already suffered, the strain of these last few days, it was too much.
I understand, Count. It's quite all right. I have the answers I came for.
Yeah, they're either all conning us or it can't have been her. So, that's one suspect off the list, so let's just go into the staff then. I think Fouchier is most likely out of the staff. He's also Swiss.
You play well. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Thank you. Many years of piano lessons thanks to my mother.
He's
I
also,
try to play
I
in a
would
few
say,
clubs in Paris when I get the chance.
the most
but as you
agile.
can see, it hasn't made me rich. What can I do for you?
Conversation only.
What did you do in Venice? Can I see your knives? Night of Ratchet's murder timeline.
Tell me about your time in Venice.
I had Monsieur Book's permission to see my sister. She lives in Marghera, just outside of Venice. She had a baby a few weeks ago. This was my first chance to meet my new nephew.
Monsieur Book gave you permission?
Yes, you can ask him.
Most assuredly, I will. What time did you leave, and when did you return?
I left around 9:10 p.m. I was back by 10:45 p.m. When I got back, Hotaru was in a lot of pain. I gave him a back massage.
That would have been enough time to kill Monsieur Wadi and return to the train. May I see your knives?
Of course, they are here.
If you don't mind.
Help yourself. They are under the bar counter.
Okay, we'll do that in a second.
Tell me again about your poker game the night of the murder.
It's a regular game to help relax after a long day. Let's see, we started around 11 p.m. We took a short break in Vinkovsky, Hotaru, Pierre, and I. The game finished up around 2 a.m. We'd all had quite a bit to drink. Ah, yes, I left for about 10 minutes to refrigerate champagne for the next day. That must have been around 1 a.m.
None of these come close to the wounds on either body.
Doesn't mean he couldn't use somebody else's knife though, does it?
You told Fauché he could go into Venice?
Marghera, actually. Not so far away. It was his only chance to see his sister. He's been working every trade for weeks. There is never time to see the new baby.
Enough, Book. Your heart does you credit, but your common sense, it...
I know. But it's fine. Isn't it? He did come back.
Oh, it's fine, as you say. Unless he saw the baby, then killed someone else and returned to the train.
But that's monstrous.
Murder is always monstrous, my friend.
Let's go and see Mr. Mori.
Good evening, Monsieur Mori. May I have a moment of your time? I have a few questions to ask you.
Of course! As long as you don't mind if dinner is ruined.
I promise to be as brief as possible. What did you do while we were stopped in Venice?
With Freya's help, I loaded fresh produce for the next part of our journey. Then, you may not believe this, but my job requires a lot of physical labor. My back suffers. Fortunately, Jean has become quite adept at separating my vertebrae.
Or was your back hurting from falling over a load of stuff being chased?
As you may know, I have solved the murder of Monsieur Ratchet.
That is a shame.
I beg your pardon?
The bastard sent my steak tartar back, telling John I was to burn it.
I will add it to the list of his crimes. One wound on Monsieur Ratchet's body was struck by a very sharp, thin-bladed knife. We haven't found it yet.
You think one of mine was used?
I'd like to have a look, if you don't mind.
In that drawer.
An impressive set of knives. But their blades are too wide to have been used for the crime. Tell me about your poker game the night of the murder.
We started around 11 p.m. When John finished his shift. We played until around 2 a.m. From what I remember, it's a bit vague.
You played without a break?
Actually, we did break once for a smoke. John, Pierre, and I. When we stopped in Vinkovsky.
When was that?
Around midnight?
Okay, let's go and talk to our final suspect. She's still in here. Have I been in these rooms yet?
The box is secured by some sort of locking mechanism. The design is formed by 3 commas. What is the word in Japanese? Tamoe. And it's obviously missing a piece.
Interesting. I don't know if we're supposed to be here yet, but might as well have a little snoop around while nobody's around. So we need to do something with that then. Feather. Wow, that's incriminating.
A black feather. That reminds me of something.
And it leads right to here. Very incriminating. Just have a walk over here in case there's the obvious outfit or something's just over here. We'll Take the golden mustache, though.
Come to Poirot, my exquisitely sculpted friend. Good evening, Mademoiselle Nielsen. May I talk to you for a moment?
Of course, Mr. Poirot. I'm not going to bed right away.
Can you tell me your movements while we were stopped in Venice?
That'll be easy. I didn't move much at all. Let's see. I helped Hotaru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hotaru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Dr. Constantine found a stab wound on Ratchet's body that was caused by a much thinner and sharper blade than the others.
Possibly a chef's knife?
My thought, precisely.
And you'd like to see my knives?
If you wouldn't mind.
I would gladly show you if I had any, but I don't. I use the regular kitchen knives. You may search if you don't believe me.
I see.
All the knives the staff use are in the kitchen or in the lounge, except...
Except?
Hotaru prefers to use his own.
Monsieur Mori doesn't use the kitchen knives?
Not usually. I know he keeps a set of traditional Japanese knives in a box in his room. He doesn't let anyone else use them. Although now that I think of it, he has been using the kitchen knives lately.
Interesting.
Can you tell me exactly about your poker game the night of the murder?
We started around 11 p.m. In Vinkovsky, we took a short break. Hotaru and Pierre went outside to smoke. Oh, and Hotaru got sick around a few minutes past 1 a.m. 1:10 a.m. maybe? He spent about 15 minutes in the bathroom, but he didn't want to quit on a losing streak.
Did his luck improve?
No, so we played to around 2 a.m. He lost every hand.
So these are Hitaru's knives, then.
The box is secured with the tamoe, and it's obviously missing a piece.
Where is that piece? I think it's in the kitchen. Definitely ask him about it, surely. No. Wow, can't even ask him about it. Mr. Michel, so let's go and ask him for his real testimony. I'm pretty sure we could, we've got enough to ask Mori about his other set of knives. But he could have quite easily just lost the final piece of his key. So he's not been using those knives for that reason.
Ah, Michel, I have a few more questions to ask you, if you will allow me.
Anything, Monsieur Poirot. We are in your debt.
Please tell me your movements when we were stopped at Venice Station.
Once the compartments were cleaned and the linen refreshed, I stayed in my quarters.
Did you notice anything special? Comings and goings?
Monsieur Bouc had asked everyone to stay in their compartments. I would occasionally walk the train to ensure everyone was comfortable. Oh, I saw Monsieur Mori was all alone loading his crates of provisions. A great chef like that, reduced to petty labor, I would have helped him. But Monsieur Bouc had ordered me not to leave the train for any reason. So, Monsieur Mori was forced to labor alone.
That's not the information we've been told.
Let us review the actual timeline of the night of Ratchet's murder, not the one manufactured to hide your crime.
I left the train in Vinkovsky for a smoke. Then I resumed my post. That was the truth. The train departed on schedule. But then, of course, an avalanche of snow blocked the tracks. At 12:45, Madame Hubbard and I met in her compartment to discuss how to adapt our plan.
Due to the snow and Poirot.
The little play we had staged for you had to be rewritten. I left her compartment at approximately 1:15.
Then the curtain went up. Calls in the night, the red kimono, all for my benefit.
And all for nothing, as it turned out.
Do not blame yourself, Michel. I am the theater critic no playwright wants to see in the audience. I've talked to everyone, but some elements of the testimonies do not seem to correspond. I need to recheck a few things.
Check the knives of Mr. Mori. Well, we've done that, but we can't do that. And her testimony was wrong. Select 2 elements that give the staff an alibi for the time of the murder. So...
I must admit I'm not right this time.
She doesn't smoke.
I do not think that's the right answer. This is wrong, but I'm never far from the truth.
Of course.
Any of the 3 staff members had the opportunity to kill Ratchet when Monsieur Michel wasn't watching the hallway. That's the right answer.
So we're not really any closer with the 3 of them. They all have the means there. But Ms. Nielsen is the only one who's told a blatant lie. Now, we've already checked his knives twice. But now it's come up as a node. I'm wondering if it'll let us check his knives. Look at that, we can now get in this box. I say we can get in this box. What do we need to do here? So we've got a flower. What does that indicate? Is that the... Is that what we're trying to make up on top?
It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side. It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side.
That's now blocked from moving again. It's not very easy to get round to the next one. Like, rotate this round. Like, I want to touch these now, but it's... There we go. I expect one on this side then. This would be so much easier if it would just let me click what I want to click. There we go. I think it's got to be the middle one, maybe? So we need that one to go all the way over there. But I can't get over there. Come on, game. I think we're getting closer. We've now got that on there. We've now unlocked that one as well.
It's still locked. I need to move the parts on the side.
I There we go. We're finally in. That is a really hard puzzle.
An object that looks like a broken comma. It must be part of something else.
Yeah, we know what it's for, Poirot. We know what it's for. That's a really good box, though. For trying getting all of that undone. You're not going to do that in a hurry. Okay, let's see if he's got the knife we're looking for. That one, possibly?
Colteria Venezia.
Ask Mr. Mori about his personal knives.
Sushi knives.
Interesting.
Razor sharp.
So the others are all going to be in Japanese, but that one isn't. I would assume. Let's go and ask him.
I'm sorry, Monsieur Mori, but haven't you forgotten something? You haven't told me about the knives hidden in your room.
Ha! Yes, indeed. I forgot to tell you about those. They are my personal knives. I only use these knives. There are none better. I bought them all in Japan. No one is allowed to touch them, except me.
Which of these sentences contains a lie? They are my personal knives. I only use these knives. There are none better. Technically not true, because you're using a different one now. I bought them all in Japan. No one is allowed to touch them except me. One of them is not Japanese.
I'm afraid you are better at sushi than lying.
What? What do you mean?
One of the knives has an inscription, Coltelleria Venezia. Did you happen to go shopping tonight, monsieur?
Damn you, Poirot. Very well. One of my sushi knives has been missing since the night of the murder. I thought you were going to believe I killed Ratchet. He routinely sent back my dishes to be ruined. Why does God give rich people the money to afford the best cuisine, but not the palate to appreciate it? I panicked. I know a very good store in Venice. I went to buy a knife to replace the one that had gone missing, so I wouldn't be accused. I assure you that I had nothing to do with any murders.
I would have an easier time believing you, monsieur, if you put that knife down.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry.
What time did you leave on your little shopping trip?
I left around 9:30 p.m. I was back a little after 11. 11:15 p.m.?
Time enough to stab Monsieur Wadi and return. Very well, Monsieur Mori. That's all for now. If I have another question...
I'll be right here, cooking.
So nobody as of yet has given me any proof that they didn't do it. Only a time window where they all could have done. Let's go and see what the why she's lied about this.
Remind me of what you did when the train stopped in Venice.
No problem. I helped Hotaru load all of the food crates aboard the train. Hotaru had everything he needed, but I realized they forgot half of my order. I spent over an hour on the phone with the supplier, without success. I had to change the dessert menu for tomorrow.
Brought all of the food crates? No, you didn't. It's got to be that one. We'll read the others just in case. I realized I forgot half my order. I spent an hour on the phone, and I had to change it. Yeah, that could all be true, but this one definitely isn't.
Mademoiselle, I believe you're hiding the truth from me.
What makes you say that?
Michel saw Monsieur Mori carrying the crates of food alone. You weren't on the platform.
I did help Hotaru.
The entire time? He carried so many crates, his back was sore.
Ah, I'm sorry about that. Okay, I'm guilty. I did leave him before we were finished. but I had to. There was no saffron he needed for a recipe. I volunteered to go into Venice and get him some. The Rialto market would be open late because of the carnival. He gave me money. I knew we weren't supposed to leave the train, but I only wanted to help. Mr. Mori can confirm this. Ask him. I saved dinner.
On behalf of my palate, I thank you. How long were you gone?
I left at 9:10 p.m. and was back with the saffron around 11. That's when I called my supplier for the items I was missing.
Miss Nielsen had almost 2 hours to buy the saffron, find a costume, kill Monsieur Wadi, elude Detective Locke, and make it back to the train for that phone call. Yes, it's possible that was enough time. Thank you, Mademoiselle Nielsen. That is all for now.
And the feather
Sorry
is
again,
outside
Mr.
this
Poirot.
room.
I hope you enjoy tonight's dessert.
So all three of them could have done it. And we have found no evidence to prove otherwise. Let's do this node before we finish. Alibis in Venice. Who doesn't have an alibi for the murder of Mr. Wadi? All of these.
That was easy.
Report to Detective Locke. Let's go and do that before we finish.
What have you been doing, Poirot? I am completely in the dark.
I will shine some light on the situation, my friend. I have 3 new suspects who could have killed Ratchet and Monsieur Wadi. Miss Nielsen, Monsieur Fauché, and Monsieur Mori. They all had periods of time during both murders to commit the deed, and their alibis are weak. A visit to family, and not 1, but 2 shopping trips.
But all are my employees.
Alas, yes, my dear Book. But we have no proof against any of them. None of the 3 appears to have any motive whatsoever.
But this is a tragedy.
Do not give up hope. We will catch this murderer. There is still one place that may hold the evidence we need.
Geneva.
Exact.
Do not give up hope? Well, that's easy for you to say. But what if it's Freya? What becomes of dessert? If it's Sotaru, who will cook? Me? And the worst, if it's Jean, who will serve the drinks?
I've been checking up on the Banque du Lac. I had to confirm my identity for Interpol, so they contacted my captain at the Berkshire Police.
I suspect he was not pleased.
That my vacation was actually an unofficial investigation? I'll say.
I would be happy to speak to him on your behalf.
Thank you, but he'll get over it. It's a chance to close the books on the Armstrong kidnapping. He stopped yelling, asked for a report, then granted me an extra week.
Excellent. What did you learn from Interpol about the Banque du Lac?
It's had a bad reputation for over a century. Customers have included the mafia, Nazis, corporate swindlers of every description, even heads of state.
It is true, this. It is the worst-kept secret in banking. They take advantage of the bank's strict policy of protecting the anonymity of its clients. This is in defiance of many laws from multiple countries, including Switzerland itself. Of course, I have never taken advantage of such a corrupt system.
That goes without saying, my friend.
There are ongoing investigations, subpoenas, court orders. The bank will eventually have to comply, or its assets may be seized. But until then, it still thrives, thanks to its wealthy and powerful clients.
It sounds perfect for the late Monsieur Ratchet. Do you have any ideas?
The serial numbers from some of the bills match those from the Armstrong kidnapping. We agreed in Venice that the bulk of the money must still be physically in the bank's vault.
I concur, Detective Locke. Exemplary work. So, our next task is clear. We need to get into Ratchet's safety deposit box.
There will be codes, passwords.
And Monsieur Wadi would, of course, have known them all. The bag of money he carried is proof of that.
We'll need to find information about Ratchet's box in Wadi's office at the bank.
Most assuredly, but Remember the secrecy involved. I doubt his office will contain all we need. Where else must we dig?
Where can I find information on Ratchet's safety deposit box? The internet, Ratchet's diary, ask Mr. McQueen, Mr. Waddy's apartment. We have the key for that.
Et voilà.
Mr. Waddy couldn't keep all of his secrets at the bank. Hopefully we'll find something in his apartment. We already have his address thanks to his passport, and his keys we retrieved from his body.
The train stops in Lausanne at 8 a.m. But that's far from Geneva. I can delay the departure until 11 a.m. No later. The police are expecting us in Paris by the end of the afternoon at the latest. They won't tolerate any delay.
The bank doesn't open until 9. I can see only one way that gives us a chance to be on time.
How to go to Geneva? Boat or taxi? It's got to be a taxi. Surely.
Let's take a taxi. I checked a map. It should take us less than an hour to get to Geneva from Lausanne, which leaves us just enough time to access that safety deposit box. We have no choice if we want to be back to the train by 11 a.m.
How to search the apartment and the office efficiently, separately.
The best thing is to separate. One of us searches his apartment, the other searches his office. To access the safety deposit box, we need to find the key, the box number, and the passcode.
Suppose you find all this. How do you plan to get into the vault?
Impersonate Ratchet, search warrant. Impersonate Ratchet.
We are going to use the bank's anonymity policy to our advantage.
And the quickest way is for you to impersonate Ratchet.
I would rather impersonate Jack the Ripper, but in the interest of justice, I will do it.
We need to find the account number.
Along with everything else.
I will say I want access to the vault. They don't ask for papers or even names. The vault information is enough.
I'm not hearing any of this. I run a train company. I don't rob banks.
Perfect. Let's recap the plan.
Okay, steps in the right order. So, go to Geneva by taxi. Separate. Find information about Ratchet's safe. Hang on a sec. Separate. Search. Find information. Meet up at the bank. Pretend to be Ratchet. And search the safety deposit box.
My little gray cells did not let me down.
To sum up, we're going by taxi to Geneva. Then we'll split up. You're going to search Mr. Waddy's apartment. I'll search the office at the bank. When we have all the information we need, you pretend to be Ratchet, and we can finally find out what Ratchet is keeping hidden in his safety deposit box.
It sounds impossible.
Not for Detective Joanna Locke and Hercule Poirot.
We should get some rest.
You are right, Detective. We face our greatest challenge tomorrow. Together.
Nine o'clock. Our driver did well. It took barely an hour to get here from Lausanne.
But we must conclude our business in 1 hour as well. Book can only hold the train until 11 o'clock.
1 hour to find the key of Ratchet's safety deposit box, the box number, and its passcode. A lot to ask.
Indeed, which is why we must split our forces. I will take the cab to Monsieur Waddy's address. You must search his office.
I have you on speed dial. And thank you, Mr. Poirot.
For what, mademoiselle?
For trusting me.
Okay, well, I think we'll pick this up in the next one. We didn't really uncover that much there, did we? But we have found ourselves in Geneva now, where we will hopefully find out more information in that safety deposit box and get to the bottom of who the 13th mystery murderer is. But If you have enjoyed this one, make sure you leave it a like, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you for another video very soon.